if you look at it in a CP approach, the technology approach, and we looked at a lot of modification where now we are moving to the second tier, okay, where we are talking about developing technology. In the technology point of view, I think we already saw quite a few examples from Dr. Mohanty's presentation, but I just want to give you one classic example. In a textile dyeing industries, if you are using a conventional dyeing machine, and if you have used an advanced dyeing machine, so you can see, basically if you look at it very carefully, the amount of raw material you consume is much less. I think Dr. Mohanty said it very nicely, either as a factor 5 or a factor 10. You can do the same thing. Basic thing is amount of raw material consumption is reduced, at the same time amount of waste generation is reduced. So that is what we talk about in production process, developing green technology, which consumes one way of less resources. There are plenty of examples like this. I will not go into each one of them, but so let's see. That's another very classic example. It's not necessarily always we need to gear to a technology that's bringing up a new equipment. We can also do a very simple understanding the problem, do a simple modifications, and it works out very well in many industries. Take for example an electroplating industries. Okay, I'll go back into again the chromium. You have an electroplating, you have a chromium bath, you take it out after the electroplating, and the next step you do it is you take it to a washing tank, you wash it out, so you remove all the chromium sulfate, so the plate can be moved to the next process. So every time you wash here, you use a lot of water, and that is the water consumption, and the water is getting contaminated with the residual chromium sulfate, so the wastewater will contain a large concentration of chromium which need to be removed. So it creates a problem of resources and the pollution. Like one approach is totally changing the technology or raw material as we looked at earlier. Okay. Or another approach is very simple. Okay. What we do is you have this chromium plating, so you could do is instead of washing it immediately, you keep it into a small tank which you call a drag out tank. So any chromium sulfate attached to the plate will drip down, then you do a washing. So the second level of washing. So you could do this type of, sorry, I think I made a mistake. The first thing is you could have a 2 level of washing. You don't wash it immediately. Okay? Then you have what we call a counter current. So this, you will have a first washing, then you will have a second washing, and the water from here is be utilized here. So you could always have a recycling process. So the total water consumption, if you look at it here, from a 10 cubic meter, it comes to 2 cubic meter. So the raw material consumption is reduced, but it's not necessarily the amount of the chromium is discharged is reduced. So that means you still have to handle same amount of pollutant. So to overcome this, you could have another strategy. You can have the first one, instead of washing directly, you keep it into a tank, which we call a drag out tank. So the chromium sulfate is collected as a chromium sulfate, and which could be after some time taken back into the electroplating bath. So that means some of the raw material is sent back into the process, and it also reduces the pollution. So if you look at it here, as you have less chemicals to wash, the amount of water you are using is from 10 cubic meter per hour, it has come to 0.4 cubic meter per hour. It's also reduced the amount of chemicals goes to the wastewater treatment plant where you need to do the treatment. So the whole idea of a green technology, please keep in your mind, when it comes to the industry, it's not necessarily only developing technologies, but it also comes with other options, and it's very important for industries to look into that carefully.